Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. This is Houston Trong from the tradingedge.org, and welcome to your weekly market outlook for June the 24th to the 28th, 2019. Apologies for the slightly late publishing of this video. I spent the whole day yesterday, Saturday, at the Montreal Modern Trader Summit, and it was a really good event put on by Jane Galena, otherwise known as Airplane Jane, and it was a real fun time to hang out with other traders and share some ideas and get a chance to meet a lot of other traders. So let's talk about the coming week. So for the coming week, we have the big thing is there on the calendar is that the G20 meeting starts on June 28th, which is on a Friday. So expect to see lots of headlines about the potential meeting between, of course, Donald Trump and President Xi. At the same time, we do have some macro news on the calendar. There's GDP on Thursday. Oil could be an interesting number to watch on Wednesday. And of course, there's still lots of earnings in the later half of the week, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So as usual, make sure you keep your eyes on that. So let's launch into the charts now. Let's talk about a bit about the week that was, and let's really focus on what to expect for the coming week. This is the final trading week of the month, as well as the final trading week of the quarter. So what can we expect? Will things stay in their current pattern, or will they try to move it out of some of the ranges before the end of the quarter? Right now, let's start right from the VIX, and we're still on the monthly chart, still on an inside month. So right now, even though VIX has been melting, it's still inside of last May's range. So this tells you you can still expect choppy business here, especially if you fail to break the ranges before the end of the week. Then you can expect it to stay inside month and probably bounce around a bit. Right now on the weekly chart, we still have a momentum down condition. As I mentioned, it's been 2 weeks now. We had that big outside bar 2 weeks ago, and then outside bar down, and this past week was another down bar. So until a high gets taken out, this high specifically gets taken out, it's still outside bar down momentum. So as you can see, this previous level here, that dotted line, was the previous all-time low for VIX. That was put in back in October. That's when we hit those really low levels. Now, as you see here, this week we came all the way down, touched it, broke down briefly, and actually managed to fill a couple of gaps. And you can't see those gaps on the weekly, but we do have them on the daily, which I showed off last week. So we had that gap right there at 26.86, and I'm going to delete that now because we took that off. Happened right away on Tuesday, and then we had this final gap down here, which was when it was unfilled all the way back from May the 3rd, when things when things sold off, and that got filled on Thursday. Now there was a lot of I think maybe a little misplaced attention about the trading that happened on Friday. Don't forget that Friday, as you mentioned in last week's video, it was quadruple witching. So the fact that indices moved around a lot on quadruple witching is not unusual, as things tend to get pinned to the strike prices as expiry happens. So even with a quadruple witching, VIX still inside bar on the daily. So if you look at the VIX here, it's still momentum to the downside. It started last week, right? So here, outside inside, I'm on the daily chart here, outside inside, down, outside bar down. Here's your momentum, down, 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 down. No high has been taken out yet. That's an inside bar. If a high gets taken out now, that's possible, then we can come back up here and perhaps fill in some of these gaps. That's something to be watching out for, especially if if we stay in this inside month condition, things get choppy, expect it to pop back up again and start to fill gaps. On the 4-hour chart, there's a possibility there, because on Thursday, Friday, this is what we have. Outside bar down, there's your momentum, right? Outside bar down, but the buyers bought it. As soon as you broke below that previous all-time low, we had that gap down there as well. They bought it right away here on Thursday, okay? Inside bar, they gapped it up on Friday, again, closed inside day. But here, we have the outside down sequence now. The sellers ran out of momentum. Now they're pushing it back up, and we have stops right there. Okay, so that's the opportunity for the bulls of VIX products to try to take out that pivot high. How much higher they can take it, we'll just have to wait and see and just follow price. SPY Again, now look at the close of VIX. It closed at 25.94, right? So very close to that $26 strike. Look at SPY. This, again, this is why I'm not overly concerned about the price action on Friday, but where things closed. It closed at 293.94, so basically 294. Okay, so very close to that strike, causing the maximum amount of pain. So on the SPY, things look very strong so far. We're back in this condition, inside bar and up on the quarterly chart. On the monthly chart, it's an outside bar, right? So, oops, that's the wrong one again. Let's go back to SPY there. So on the monthly chart, outside bar. So we have two consecutive outside bars now on the monthly chart. Red, then counter with a green one. What happens in July? We won't know until July, right? We want to see how it takes out this range. Does it go outside up, which is momentum, outside down, which is all the way down here? It's harder to do, but anything's possible. Inside, or takes up both sides and creates another outside bar. That would be something, right? So we have to wait and see. But right now, SPY is momentum to the upside. Look, last week, outside up. We talked about that. And up again this week, creating all-time highs, right? So that took out the previous highs here, which were higher than those highs there. So we have all-time highs again, albeit it did come back on Thursday and Friday. But again, even with all the the gyrations on Friday, inside day for SPY on Friday. So we want to wait and see now to see how it resolves that inside bar. Does it inside bar break to the downside, inside bar break to the upside, go inside or inside outside? Watch for those four scenarios. Follow price. You don't have to predict, just follow the price. Here you have to watch out for a potential bearish scenario where you have on the 4-hour chart, you have here outside and up, right? So there's your momentum, creating the all-time highs. So that's Thursday. Outside bar and up. There's your momentum move. Then they ran out of steam. So as soon as this comes back in, literally right here on the second half of Thursday, as soon as it comes back into this range here, there's a chance it's going to come through the other side. That's what happens. It hasn't taken out this bar yet, but right now that's the possibility that if the bears step up on Monday or throughout the week here, they take out this inside bar low, comes back down here to gap fill and perhaps take out this this outside bar's low. Let's talk Qs. So Qs, here we go. Qs on the 3-month chart. Well, first off, on the 3-month chart, the Qs are currently outside, inside, and back up again, right? So that's conditions in play, back above this outside bar high, placed back in Q4 of 2018. So looking strong, right? Because you're above Q4's highs. On the monthly chart, what do you got here? Outside and down still. So not an outside bar yet. It's just outside bar and down on the Qs. So in July, unless something changes last week, you could take it outside again. But right now, outside down. Next week, or when the quarter ends, if it still remains in this condition, there's possibility it goes outside bar down and back up again, taking out that pivot high. For now, we're still 1.46% away from those all-time highs. So really not that far from the Qs. It could be one really good session or a couple good sessions could put you back up there again. On the weekly, look at it. It's momentum up. So up. Right now, you don't want to be getting short yet because none of these major, the bigger time frames are not showing any weakness. It's still momentum to the upside. Before the momentum runs out, they have to take out that pivot low, the weekly low, because there's momentum on the weekly chart. So you're not looking necessarily, if you're taking a short on the daily or on a higher time frame chart, which is less than the weekly, but higher, but less than the weekly, and you're trying to find a short to take it down, recognize you have to take out this weekly low before you kill the momentum on the weekly chart. So even though you might find a bearish setup on a daily, 4-hour, or 2-day chart as an example, anything less than a weekly chart, that's what I'm trying to say, until that level gets taken out, the weekly buyers are still going to be in there because the momentum is still to the upside. So on the Qs, inside bar up on Thursday, kind of fizzled out here, right? So here, this is only 1 penny higher than that day, 189.76. This day here was 77, so 1 penny higher. They couldn't push it any higher. But look where they pin it. 188.57 is the close on the Qs, very close to that strike price. On the 2-day chart, on the Qs here, is momentum to the upside on the 2-day chart. Outside bar, up. You need to take out that low there to kill the momentum on the 2-day chart. On the 4-hour chart, you do have a potential inside bar reversal. So this thing here, we talked about Thursday, right? Thursday, there's Friday, creates a slightly higher high than that high there with that inside bar break to the upside. If it cracks below that low now, that's an inside bar reversal, possibly going back to the downside again, which is what we kind of saw on SPY, right? The potential for it to come back in based on this outside up sequence. Same kind of sequence, same type of momentum sequence. So this would not be surprising if this can come up and pull it back down to perhaps this existing trend line here. Okay, so that would not be unusual. You'd still be well above the previous week's lows. That would still keep momentum on the week, and that might trap in some shorts and be a good buying opportunity for pounds higher. Russell, where do we close? 153.95. They pegged it to 154, right? So again, causing the most amount of pain to the most amount of traders, whether they're long puts or calls. So here's the Russell, outside, inside on the monthly chart. So looking like Russell, if it stays inside this range, looks like it will right now, unless it has some sort of really big move to the downside, the upside. It's going to stay inside this range for the rest of the month, creating a really good trading opportunity for July and of course the next quarter. So keep your eye out for Russell next week, especially. We want to definitely be seeing how this thing closes this week. If it's still outside inside, and then it's going to set up some great stuff for potentially for July. Right, a break to the upside or break to the downside. We know there's momentum waiting to ignite here based on this pattern. For now, it's inside bar up and up right now, so the buyers still have it. Daily, inside up, inside bar reversal right there. Okay, so it reversed it right there. We're coming back down again. Broke below the quarterly open. So here's the quarterly open, that blue line. And for 2 days, we had closes above the quarterly open, but here on Friday they did do an inside bar reversal back to the downside, and this is what it looks like on the 4-hour chart. So here, there it is, outside and up momentum. Inside bar means they run out of steam. As soon as this bar gets taken out there, that low, pam, back down again. So here's Friday, right? They sold it right from the get-go on Russell on Friday. So inside bar, back down again. But if this thing breaks back to the upside again, this would be a potential inside bar reversal to the upside. So because this goes inside bar and down, and it goes inside bar, and the sellers can't take it lower yet, if this thing breaks above here, it comes back up again, it takes this thing back to quarterly green. So watch for that. So if the buyers step up here, and they buy, they break above here, and they crack that level, there's your quarterly alignment again with potential to go back higher. Because right now, green on the quarter, you could have a green week. Green, that would be green in the quarter, green month, green week, potentially green days, right? So that would give Russell more win in its sales. Dow now. Dow, what do we got? Outside a month. So where did they close the Dow? 267.10. Easy for me to say. Very close to that strike price of 267. So again, they're pegging these things at the strike. Outside bar on the month. Okay. On the 3-month chart, Dow looking very strong because here we go. Let's maximize that there. Outside, inside, back up again. This came very close to taking out that previous high. High here is 269.28. It got as high as 268.96. So this week, the buyers could not push it back to all-time highs, but it's getting close. Look, right there in the weekly. Outside bar up on the weekly. Momentum's up, right? Outside up, up again. Here, you're only less than 30 cents away now from taking out those all-time highs. So getting very, very close to our all-time highs. So watch for that as the momentum is still to the upside. On the Dow, it's just slowly grinding up. And if we take a look at the 2-day chart for a second. Yeah, so that's what we saw here with the week. Inside bar and up. That's inside bar and up there on Monday, Tuesday, or second 2-day chart. So that's your Monday break, and you see that Monday break there, and it just slowly grinds up. So on the 4-hour, this is the opportunity here. It goes outside bar up. Okay, momentum runs out here because it goes outside bar and down. And now, if the buyers need to take control, they need to stop this momentum from the downside. So eventually, if it keeps going down, you want to wait for one of these 4-hour bars to get taken out to the upside for there to be an indication that the short-term 4-hour momentum has dissipated. because the longer term momentum, the weekly, is still to the upside. So wait for the shorter term momentum on the downside to run out and then get back into a long position, because the bias is long, right? Quarterly, green. Month, that's 3-month chart. Month, guess what? Green, right? Week, if we get back above our wherever we open on Monday, it could be green. You might see green days. That's going to be a good buying opportunity. Talk about long bond. Long bond is still in really, really good shape here, right? Although finally giving back some. So this is the issue with the long bond. You know, I've drawn it for a while now. It's hitting the top of this this megaphone formation, and so this thing has to break out of this range to get more range expansion. Otherwise, if it flattens out here and it runs out of momentum and it runs out of steam, then it has the risk of coming back through the range again as it runs out of as it stops going range expansion and goes back into contraction consolidation. So for the month here, what we have here is a red month. So this is a red month right now, even though we had quite the amount of fireworks in June. Bonds have turned red for the month. Here, this is what I'm waiting for. If this low gets taken out on the weekly chart, there's your inside bar reversal on the weekly. So this looked good in the beginning of the week when I went inside bar to the upside. This is momentum though, right? So this is what we're always watching, is when does momentum start and when does momentum fail? Here's your momentum. Inside bar up. Why is that momentum? Because it's going right into highs. Okay, it's not corrective action. This is corrective action, right? So this inside bar break to the upside is corrective because it comes after this red sequence. This inside bar to the upside, that's momentum because it's not coming after a pullback sequence or a corrective sequence. It's going right into inside highs. Right into highs. You only have pivots that are there to go after. Recognize here that once these pivots get taken out, it pulls back. It doesn't come back and sell off. It just pulls back and consolidates a bit. Here, again, you've taken out all the pivots that are nearby. You may have taken out those guys there, but that's from all the way back from October of 2016, right? So that's the pivot they're going after now if they have strength. But right now it doesn't seem like they have strength. So inside bar up, if that load gets taken out right there, let's draw it in because we're going to watch it this week. That's what we want to be waiting for. 130, 113. I'll be looking to get short if it gets below there, probably via puts. So here's there's the week, kind of choppy stuff as TLT usually is, but something to watch out here for especially is this scenario on the 2-day. There it is. Outside bar up. Okay, there's your momentum start right there. It ignites right there when it takes out that high. Up again. The last 2 days, break it back down. So it takes out that low. So now, if it goes outside bar and down, that's momentum back to the downside. All right, so momentum back to the downside. If it breaks below that level, 130, 113, that will trigger the weak red, or will break below the previous week's lows. The only thing that's not really going for the short right now is that it's still above the quarterly open, which is way down here. So yes, it doesn't have full time frame alignment, but when you have multiple time frames in your favor now, the month is red. Okay, if it breaks below last week's lows, definitely going to be a red week. Okay, you're going to have perhaps red days, red 2-day chart. The thing that's going to be the quarterly, but the shorter time frames are in your favor. So that's definitely a chart worth looking at as a short. Or if the buyers step in, there are alternatives. The buyers step in, they defend that level. It could break below, but they defend it, they pull back up again. Then they trap some of these shorts who think that that they can get short before the end of the quarter. And then they simply use these moving averages or whatever method they're using to buy corrective activity to push it back up again. So again, wait and see how this low gets taken out. Do they immediately buy it again? You need to watch for that, right? Because then you don't want to get stuck in that short, because that's going to be a trap. Okay, so let's talk about GLD. Before we do GLD, let's talk about some more equities first. Let's do emerging markets. Emerging markets is kind of slow down a bit. We got inside month here. Okay, so inside month, looking like it's probably going to stay inside month with only 1 week left. Okay, because the month of May was a really bad month for emerging markets, and we're inside the range now. And unless something significant happens, it's not going to break out of there. It was a good week though, so there's your outside bar. What's the next bar? What is the next bar? It's still below the quarterly open. So we want to see how that navigates or negotiates that particular level of resistance. Okay, so just watch for that. Let's talk about now. Let's jump over to some commodities. Let's do gold first. Gold, I prefer looking at XAU nowadays, just because it eliminates some of the gaps in the chart and it gives us a little bit more clean price action. So gold now has finally peaked above that massive multi-year consolidation. Okay, so there's your big blue box that we've been consolidating in for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years, right? That whole sequence here finally cracked above it. It is momentum to the upside now, right? So it's momentum, it's going fast, and you have to just recognize that you don't want to chase these things necessarily unless you're actively trading it and willing to take it off quickly if it runs out of momentum, because you don't want to get trapped in that type of situation. So wait for that pullback. XAU possibly going higher here now, because let's take a look here on the 3-month chart. Outside bar, right? So next quarter we get that outside bar up condition. We still got momentum on the longer time frame chart, and that could give you some more potential upside there on gold. A more attractive play for me versus playing the straight up commodity are the miners, and specifically I'm looking for pullbacks on miners. Based on this particular, like we talked about this last week's video here, that pivot got taken out now. So it was outside bar down, broke down, inside bar, boom, back to the upside. They took out that sequence. So I think it has more range to go. Like there's more opportunity to the upside, because if we take a look back and really zoom out, this is why I love looking at the really big picture, the 12-month chart. Look, outside, inside, down. There's your inside bar reversal that happened just this past week. The level here is 2486. It cracked it on Thursday. So you got an inside bar reversal happening on GDX on the yearly chart. So they're going after that pivot first, 2571, really not that far away, and then ultimately that pivot comes into play. The bigger mother bar, 3179. That's not a bad risk to reward opportunity there. If we draw on the potential movement, there's another 26% just to go after that pivot. So that's not a bad trade to go after. But again, you don't necessarily want to be just buying right in the highs, because you're probably going to get the momentum is going to run out and then it's going to come back against you. Wait for there to be a pullback. This is a yearly signal, so you have the rest of the year to go after it on a good pullback opportunity. Don't forget about GDX. Okay. UK oil. Let's talk about oil now for a second. Let's go back to our monthly chart for UK oil. Oil trying to make a comeback. So here, a lot of oil equities names have gotten a lot better. Had a big bounce this past week. UK oil currently looking as a green month. Okay, weekly, green week. On this sequence here, outside down, we talked about this for a few weeks already. Momentum died right here. So momentum died right there, right? So when this bar's high, to go that bar's high, momentum ran out in the weekly, and now we got this big green week where oil was up close to 5.5%. Okay, on the daily chart, pretty simple stuff. There's your Wednesday report, but here, outside. Sorry, this is Thursday. Is that Thursday? Yeah, Thursday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So Wednesday, it's interesting. I thought they're going to break out of that on the oil report, but I'm actually misspeaking there. Outside, inside, and then this popped up on Thursday. So actually, the reaction came the day after, probably due to some tanker news. Outside, inside, and back up. All the geopolitical stuff looking good for commodities, as oil prices again they're in play, and of course it's good for gold. Geopolitical risk. Momentum in oil. There you go. Outside bar up on the 2-day chart. Now you got to watch for that to continue. Okay. Oil, gold, the good return so far this past week, right? 5%, not bad for 5.5%, not bad for crude. We had a good run on gold this week, but nothing compared to digital gold, right? Bitcoin. This past week, I was at the or yesterday, I was at the Modern Trader Summit. I delivered a presentation on trading cryptocurrencies, and I couldn't have picked a better time. It was obviously not my choice, but I couldn't have picked a better time to talk about cryptos as Bitcoin passed the 11,000 mark yesterday on Saturday as I was doing close to my presentation. So this thing really ignited this past week. You know, it reclaimed the 11,000 level. It's trading just below there now. It is trading with a lot of momentum, so something to watch out for. As someone who wants to buy more Bitcoin, you don't necessarily want this thing to take off like this, like a rocket, and get parabolic, because even though, you know, it's still in a bigger trend, uptrend, when momentum runs out, you know, the corrective pattern could be aggressive. So it's harder to buy in the pocket here when you know, the velocity of the pullback is very fast. So, you know, ideally I would have liked to see a more measured move to the upside, but, you know, cryptos trade the way they trade. They're quite explosive. People have a lot of FOMO around it. So now we have to just wait and follow the price and see what price we can get get filled on a good corrective structure. So for Bitcoin, nothing much to say other than, you know, it basically, you know, if you've been watching these videos, I got long again, or bought some more. I'm still long from my purchase back down here around 42.10, but bought some more Bitcoins as well as some other coins in this consolidation period here. Actually, this is not the right chart. This is the Bitstamp, the Bitstamp exchange. I'm trading on the Bitfinex Bitfinex exchange. The charts look very, very identical, just slightly different. Just, you know, just to note that the exchange data is different between exchanges. The prices are different as well, so you do need to watch out for that. I trade on this exchange, which I do a lot of trading on this exchange specifically, so this is the charts I usually share. But I'll start off here for me anyways on the most recent purchase, because I don't intraday trade cryptos. I swing trade cryptos. Outside, down, outside, inside, inside. There's the buy right there. There we go, currently up 5R on that one with the add right here, inside bar, momentum to the upside, right? Momentum to the upside, this thing cannot fail. In the sense that the momentum, you don't want the momentum to fail, because once it does, it's going to pull back in. And I'll be happy to take some more profits off that as it pulls back in. Okay, so again, the overall crypto markets are very, very strong right now. The neat thing this time around is that there isn't a lot of, it hasn't really been in that news. So unlike the first time that Bitcoin crossed the 10,000 mark way back in, when was that? Here, that was way back, yeah, in November of 2017. There was a lot of news at that time when Bitcoin crossed 10,000, right here. This time around, when it popped back up, yes, it's back in the news, but nowhere to the same extent. So this time around, you know, we don't have the same people back in. We don't have the same traders back in chasing Bitcoin. So right now, there's still a lot more upside, in my opinion, because we haven't hit those levels where you have the massive amounts of retail traders coming back into the space. Perhaps because they've been burnt so badly, they may not want to come back into Bitcoin again. But again, you know, that's the predicament is, it's good to not have people who are constantly chasing. At the same time, you do need to have more money to come in for the momentum to continue. So we will need to watch and see price. And if you follow my work, you know I don't try to predict the price. I'm simply trying to follow it, because what's the point of predicting price? I have no allegiances to trying to be right. As traders, we're just trying to make money, right? So we'll just follow price. Back to the total chart. The overall crypto market looking very strong. Green the month, green the week. Momentum to the upside on the daily. Same thing on the 2-day chart. So right now things are climbing higher. One chart that I do want to point out is this one here that has a lot of potential, and I put this on my blog back in April. Bitcoin Cash. Let's open up on Coinbase. Specifically for this reason here, I'm asking people to watch it. Is that this chart? No, it's not. This is not the right one. It is on which exchange? Bitstamp or Kraken? It's Bitstamp. Oh, sorry. It was the other one, Coinbase. But I'm looking at the wrong time frame. Okay, back to the 1 month chart there. So right now trading at 482.17. Very, very similar bottoming and then pop up process that Bitcoin had, but we have a really nice target to go after. I am long this, FYI, full disclosure, I am long Bitcoin Cash, just sharing this trade idea with you guys. But again, same bottoming process, even a better bottoming process, to be honest with you. It's actually outside bar and down, goes inside, Okay, so there, we have talked about this pattern so many times. Outside bar down, inside, goes inside again. That means the sellers ran out of steam. Very, very clean here. Very clean action. Pops to the upside right there. Okay, there's your buy. And now 1, 2, 3, 4 months of green now. Not including this month there. But that pivot is in play. Because we know there's stops there, and that's an outside bar, which would create that bigger megaphone pattern. So 638.55 is, you know, a very, very good target. Very high likelihood it gets taken out. The nice thing is that it's still 30% away. So, you know, good potential gains that to be made there for Bitcoin Cash. If not, even if, you know, it could even eventually head even higher. Just that pivot there is it's a very good pivot to go after. Let's talk about a few more. Let's go through some sectors first, and then we'll just wrap up with some individual stocks. Just very quickly, I like to do the real fast. You know, the macro charts, because I think they're very enlightening. So let's just breeze through some of these, just so you can get an update on where we are as it pertains to some of these all-time highs. So basic materials. Do you want to go that way? I want to see something here. I just want to pull up this one chart. Yeah, so let's stick with the quarterly chart. So basic materials, inside by reversal to the upside, going after that pivot here now, right? So back up here, and then that next pivot's in play. So basic materials, as we talked about, right? Commodity plays getting back into play, looking strong for the rest of the quarter. Okay, let's go through a bunch of them now. Energy, right? Still red on the quarter, so it's picking up again, but it'll probably still remain red on the quarter, currently trading below the quarterly open. Financials, green, back to an inside up condition, back above 27.10. So financials trying to get back stronger again. Just break down. Let's go down to the monthly really quickly here. You can see here you're still inside this big range. So for May, so very likely though that's just going to stay inside this range now for the rest of the month. Back to the quarterly. Industrials, again, just about to break above that inside bar. This is 77.13, so very close to igniting this condition again. Industrials, especially if things come good if the good news comes out of the China talks, and there's no slowdown there, then some of these industrials can pick up steam again. Tech getting close to those highs once again. Look at the XLK, boom, outside, inside, back up. Just want to see on the monthly chart, yeah. So they're outside bar and down, just like the Qs. Next week, or the week after, if it can break out above this high, we're going back to all-time highs. Not sure it's going to do it this week though, but we'll see. Wait and see. Back on the 3-month. Staples, we know staples are strong. People are chasing yields. Outside, inside, and up. There you go. Took out that quarter size, 2018's highs. So that takes you back to all-time highs. We've come back in, but it did take out those all-time highs from 2018. Now, XLU, still strong, still creating all-time highs here. Outside, up, up. That's momentum to the upside. Now, was playing this big. Look at that how strong that trend line. You can just see how strong that uptrend is. But touching the upper limits of this trend line now you have to wait and see how far it goes and when the momentum runs out. Healthcare, I talked about this last week. I was really hoping it was gonna stay still for one more week to get that more explosive action in the next quarter, but they couldn't hold they couldn't hold back the horses. This past week, healthcare had a pretty good run, so it went inside month and up now. And that triggers the quarterly, and so now it's outside, inside, up on the quarter, potentially now going after that pivot high there. Okay, the last one is discretionary. Discretionary looking strong, back to those all-time highs. Outside, inside, up, has pulled back in a little bit, but did hit all-time highs this past week. Actually, I want to make sure that's true. Yeah, it did that. High here is 120.90. No, actually, sorry, I misspoke. I really thought that this had taken out that pivot high. 79, that's 90. So didn't quite do it. Came very close. This here, they just ran out. This looks like they just ran out of steam. 119.50, so that's the strike price right there, right? That got pinned on Friday. It came very close. So that's your all-time high there at 120.90. This was 79. So let's see what happens there if they can go back to the upside of that one. I shared a number of healthcare names last week because I was watching XLV. Just a quick update on those. Let's go at it. Merck looking very strong still. how much stronger it has. Let's wait and see. Here's the 3-month chart. Okay, so you're looking at, you only have 1 week left in the quarter. Momentum bar, right? So look at that bullish momentum hammer to the upside. On the monthly chart, green. This is what we were watching for: outside, inside, and up. Now it's taking out that pivot high. Wick green. Pull back a bit after it made those all-time highs, but still trading in above that quarterly open right there. So now it's above that quarterly open. On the 4-hour chart, this is what it looked like. So in this sequence here, okay, there's your inside bar. It's this sequence here, right there. Outside, inside, and up momentum. Outside, up, 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 up. Momentum doesn't fade until here after it hits the all-time highs. Thursday, right? So it takes out that low, outside, inside, and back down. But look at this: outside, inside. Sorry, inside and down. And you get the inside bar reversal right there. They break it above this pivot high there. It creates an inside bar reversal. Now potentially going back to the upside again. Look at that blue line. What's that blue line? The quarterly open, right? So they go outside, inside, down. Support right there, quarterly open. And they pin it 84.57. 84.50 is the strike. They pin it, or 85 probably is the strike, and they pin it close to that. So, so then yeah, it is stuck there now. Now let us talk about, yeah, so backs. That was a good trade, and I'm still holding a small portion as I want to see how far this can go. I talked about this one already a few previous weeks, but they're outside and down. Once this thing ignited above 77.58, it was going to take out that pivot high. That was the possibility, and it did that this week. Last week I said this trade looked a little dicey because here I went outside, inside, and it was outside bar and up, outside bar up, but it turned red. And had they taken out that low, that momentum would have died. But they did not. They defended it, and we had subsequently 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days. So right from the get-go on Monday, they bought backs, and they created a really nice sequence there where it took up to those all-time highs. So nice sequence on backs. Now just a few more trade ideas here. I'm going to share with you. One is Twitter, and I brought this one up in the past because Twitter is having a hard time. So here's Twitter, inside month and down. Okay, on Twitter this past week, Twitter just basically sold off most of the week. It had a green day there on Tuesday. Green day Monday. Then it goes shooting star on Tuesday. Then 3 subsequent red days. That creates this scenario here now, which is looking really not good for Twitter. It's not that's not really good, but it's just like the current momentum is to the downside, because here it goes outside bar and up. It runs out of momentum right there. This week it took out that low, back to the downside. That weekly low, that pivot there is in play now. The only thing going for Twitter is that you're still above the quarterly open. So will they be able to do this? Will they be able to take that out before the quarter closes? We'll have to wait and see. Just follow the price. But right now, Twitter, momentum to the downside, right? Outside bar down. Momentum to the downside. You want to see if that momentum persists. Another kind of a short name to be watching for is GOGO. So GOGO here, telecom wireless company, outside bar and up, runs out of momentum right there, coming back through the range again, potentially going after that pivot low. Below the quarterly open now. So this thing is in full time frame alignment to the downside. As long as it stays below that blue line, this is a good shorting opportunity. One final one that's actually a long up, and you have the rest of the year to go after it, so long as it stays above a certain level. MOBL. They are a software company. Does mobile, they secure mobile devices. And this one here looking decent. So why is it on my radar? So long as it can stay above 571, which it currently is, you're looking for buying opportunities because of this scenario here. Inside bar and up. Okay, so now inside bar and up, you're going for at least this pivot high here. 678. So there, 571 is your inside bar up condition. So you had a recent pull up. You can pull back down here, and buyers defend that area. It may not be a bad situation to get long. Right now, it's if you take a look at the 4-hour chart, momentum to the downside, but momentum is running out. Momentum down, inside bar. So can they pull it down even further, or do they buy it out here and pull it back up again? We need to wait and see. The 2-bar tell us anything? Not right now. Just a standard red bar right now. So that's a good one to watch. You still have, so long as it stays above 571, then you have the rest of the year to go after it. It's going to be an inside bar up condition. All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed this week's weekly market outlook video. As usual, if you have any questions, you know where to find me at thetradingedge.org. If you want me to add any names to the weekly market outlook process, please feel free to share it with me. I'd be happy to take a look at those names. As usual, if you have any friends or other traders you know who could benefit from this type of analysis, please share our work with them so we can grow the community. And I wish you a great trading week. Happy last quarter, last trading week of the quarter and month, and happy trading.